Hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to my channel. So your girl is rocking an extremely messy looking plait today and I'm kind of feeling it, kind of not feeling it, but kind of too lazy to change my hair into anything else, so it's gonna do. So as you can all tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be doing answering your bisexuality questions part 2. The response to my first one was incredible. Like, I was shook at how amazing the response to my first one was. And so many of you guys wanted to see a part 2. So your girl's coming true. Oh yes she is. I always come true. Oh yes I do. Oh yes I do. Diddly dee doo. So I got you guys to send me questions on Instagram and Twitter, as I always do. My social media links are always in the description box for you guys in case you are wondering about that. So guys, before we dive on into this video, I just want to say one quick thing. I just want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you guys. Like, I can't even explain it. I don't know if you guys would have noticed, but like last week I hit 100k subscribers and I'm honestly still so emotional from it. I can't believe it. It still feels like a dream, and we're already over 150k now, and I can't believe it. So I just want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you guys. Like, anybody who ever has watched my videos, anyone who continually watches them, anyone who has subscribed, anyone who engages with my videos and comments and gives thumbs ups. Like, you don't even understand how much this means to me. No, oh my god, Jessie, you can't cry. You haven't even filmed the bloody video yet. It seriously means more to me than I will ever be able to explain, and I just want to say thank you because it means the whole world to me, and you guys are the bestest friends I could have ever dreamed of having, and I just feel so blessed to have this little part of the internet. And like, you guys have made my dreams come true. Like, you don't understand. Like, you have made my dreams come true. I'm gonna stop rambling now, but I just want you guys to know how much I seriously do appreciate every single one of you, and I have so much unconditional love for every single one of you, and that is never going to change. So thank you. Okay, Jessie, enough of the smishy, smoshy, mushy stuff and the tears. Now let it go. You know, we've got a video to film now, so, you know, maybe if you could get on with that, that would be great. Okay, Jessie, right, I'm getting on to it now. So with all that said, let's just dive right on in and answer your bisexuality questions part 2. So the first question is, hi Jessie, I identify as lesbian and have done for years. I often find that girls who are bi are put off by me because I am a lesbian. This isn't the case with everyone, but I've noticed it a lot recently. Would you say you are more likely to date a girl who is bi over a girl who is lesbian / does it put you off someone if they say they're lesbian rather than bi? Sorry for the long-winded question. I didn't know how to ask it. Okay, so the main reason why this is the first question is because this blew my mind. When I read this question, I literally just wanted to film this video like straight away, because this question alone blew my mind. The reason I find this so crazy is because, in my opinion and my experience, it is the complete opposite to this. Like, this is mental. I find that lesbian girls are a lot more likely to want to get involved with or be with a bisexual girl, and I don't know why that is, but that is what I have seen and that's what I have experienced, and that is also what people I know have experienced. So that's really interesting, the way you find it like the opposite way. Me personally, I would not have a preference. Like, I wouldn't be like, you know, no, I'm only dating a bisexual girl or I'm only dating a lesbian girl. Like, I have no preference in that kind of, you know, region, because to me, like, why does it matter? Why should that matter? Whether you're lesbian, whether you're bisexual, like, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. And I have always found that really strange, and like, I've never really been able to understand that. So I find that amazing how you found it the opposite way. But for me, like, I'd never be put off if someone was a lesbian, just the same way I'd like to hope that a lesbian wouldn't be put off by me because I'm bisexual. I remember trying to like work this out in my head and like, you know, try and understand why would this be the way. The only answer I can kind of see as to why this would be the way is it's kind of similar in like the gay community, like the gay men community. I have heard that bisexual men are looked down upon in the gay community because they're not like gay enough, which like what? The only logical answer that I can seem to come up with, but it's not even logical, so it doesn't make any sense, is that lesbian girls might think that bisexual girls aren't lesbian enough. I don't know. This absolutely blows my mind. So if any of you guys have anything to add to this, definitely do leave a comment down below and we can have a little discussion and maybe try and figure this out once and for all. So the next question is, have you ever struggled with conflicting identity? Like wondering whether you're pansexual or bisexual? I struggle with this on occasion and was wondering if you have any advice. Yes, baby girl, I feel you. Oh, I feel you all too much. I have struggled with this a lot as well, and it's still something that I do think about quite a lot, and I find this very confusing. I have met quite a lot of different people who seem to have different understandings of what bisexuality means, or being bisexual means, and then what being pansexual means, so I do think like people's understandings and definitions of these two things can be kind of crossed, and like, you know, people can get a bit confused. So I could be completely wrong, but this is just my understanding and the way I see it as. So in my opinion, like when I think pansexual just means that you are attracted to anybody. Like it's just about the person, it's not about the gender. So you're attracted to someone based on them solely as a person, and what genitals they have nothing to do with it. And then in my opinion, being bisexual means you're attracted to two genders, but I do know a lot of people say like being bisexual just means you're attracted to more than one gender. It means you're attracted to multiple genders. Like there are so many different explanations of both the terms, so I feel like this is where it can get very confusing. But I completely understand what you mean, because I have struggled with this for a long time as well, and the main reason why I kind of ended up labeling myself as bisexual and not pansexual is mainly because I don't feel like I have had enough experience to label myself as being pansexual, if that makes any sense. Even though I know a lot of people, you know, label themselves because they're so sure, even if they don't have experience, and that is absolutely fine. But me personally, I don't like to label myself unless I'm 110% sure, and that's why like it took me years to figure out that I was actually bisexual, and that was the label that I identified with. I didn't want to put a label on myself for a very long time because I wasn't sure, and I didn't want to do that until I was 110% positive. And you know, some people are different, some people are the same as me, and like whichever way you are is absolutely fine, but I don't want to put a label of pansexual on myself until I've had that experience and I'm 100% sure about that. But I definitely think I probably am, or either could be pansexual, because for me it is all about the person. That's how I've always kind of explained me being bisexual, is that it's just about the person. Like, you know, it's not about what genitals they have, which I'm basically just describing my definition for pansexual. Nice one, Jessie, you're just completely contradicting yourself here. But I hope you know what I mean. Like for me, it is solely completely about the person, and if I'm attracted to that person, and like just everything of who they are, their personality, and what they're about. You also asked me then if I have any advice. My best advice would probably be to just research it. Like, you know, if you really are that confused and it is bothering you quite a lot, maybe just do a lot of research. But as I was saying, like, you should not feel any pressure to put a label on yourself, and if that's what's bothering you here is because you, like, you know, you're stressing out about having that label on yourself or whatever, that doesn't matter. Like, you know who you are, you know what you like, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Like, you don't need to have a label on yourself. There are so many people out there who are bisexual, pansexual, lesbian, gay, whatever they may be, and they don't label themselves, and a lot of people just don't like putting a label on themselves because that label can stick for life. And that's partly why I've never wanted to label myself as pansexual until I'm so certain. I feel like when you're struggling to identify yourself with a certain sexuality, or you're struggling to like come to terms and make up your mind as to like what you actually identify as, I feel like when you're in that phase, you need to just take a step back and relax. You're gonna figure it out when you're meant to, and it was the same thing with me trying to figure out if I was lesbian, if I was straight, if I was bisexual, like what I was. It took me years. I was in the questioning stage, I've talked about this before, for years, and you know, I eventually figured it out, and it all worked out, and it will work out in the end. So don't stress it, just do you, be you, live the way you want to live, and you know, the right people in your life are going to love you for who you are no matter what, with a label or without a label. So I hope that helped. So the next question is, are you actively looking for a girlfriend now after having never dated a girl? So as I've said in previous videos before, I've never properly dated a girl, you know, like full-blown dating. Okay, so I wouldn't say I'm actively looking for a girlfriend, but I would absolutely love a girlfriend right now. Like, oh my god, and the main reason why I wouldn't say that I'm actively looking for a girlfriend is mainly because anytime I've ever gone out and actively was looking for something, it always backfires in Jessie's face like a cream pie. Like, Like, there you go, Jessie. You weren't looking for it. You know, it's not gonna work when you're looking for it. In my opinion, like relationships and love and the right person you're meant to be with, in my opinion, that person will come along when you least expect it, and that person will come along when you're not actively looking for someone. And I've learned that, you know, I feel like if you're just doing your own thing, you know, you're like working on the law of attraction and putting them good vibes out there and projecting out what you want, you know, and that will come back to you, but in its right time and when it's meant to come to you. I think if you're like so desperate for something and you're like, oh, I need a girlfriend now, I feel like then you could end up with somebody that just isn't right for you because you're actively seeking one and you're very desperate to be in a relationship or have a boyfriend or have a girlfriend or whatever it may be. I think when you're at that place in your head, you're never going to meet the right person. I feel like you have to be at a really positive, strong, you know, independent place in your head and be able to love yourself before that person can come along. So I'm trying to work on myself and hoping, you know, that she's gonna like come out of the curtains and be like, Jessie, it's me. And I'll be like, baby girl, I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you for a hell long time. Oh yes I have. Oh yes I have, baby. So the next question I got asked so many times, like the amount of you guys that asked this question was insane. So the next question is, do you find that you look / are more attracted to one or the other, or does it really just depend on the situation for you? I look at women more. It would be an 80-20 split. So basically, so many of you guys were asking me, what's my preference? Do I have more of a preference towards men, or do I have more of a preference towards women, or is it 50-50, or does it just depend? I feel like this question is really hard for me to answer, and let me just explain why. So I've kind of touched on this before, but as I've said like numerous times before, where I live in Ireland is just literally impossible to meet any girls who are bisexual or lesbian, because such few bisexual or lesbian girls in Ireland are out and open about it, and I'm also not a big fan of online dating, you know, so it's just extremely difficult. But in regards to just say if I'm out, if I'm on social media, if I'm watching telly, if I'm out and about, if I'm shopping in public, I'm always drawn to girls. Like, I'm always looking at girls a lot more than I'd look at guys or boys, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'd be out and I'd see a guy that, you know, was attractive or good looking, and I'd be like, oh yeah, like, but oh, look at her, oh baby, heart emoji eyes, oh mama. You know what I mean? But I get the opportunity to meet a lot more guys than I do girls, so it's really confusing for me. I would say it would be pretty 50-50. But, you know, I feel like once I have had more experience with dating girls and stuff, I'd be able to give a more exact percentage. But I'd say at the moment it would be pretty 50-50. It's just because I get the opportunity to meet more guys, and like, you know, have more opportunities to date guys if I want to or whatever. Whereas that opportunity with girls doesn't present itself, and this honestly racks my head and is so frustrating. So girls, you know, out there, if like Ireland, England, like hit me up. How do I know if I'm bisexual or just bicurious? I think this is a really good question because I feel like a lot of people struggle with this. This is another reason why I didn't label myself any earlier than I did, because I was so confused and so unsure if it was just being bicurious, you know, if I was actually bisexual. You know, I didn't want to put that label on myself if I wasn't, because in my head it wasn't fair to the people who actually were. You know, if a couple years down the line I then realised, you know, I was only bicurious all this time. So being bicurious basically just means that you're curious about your gender, so like the same gender that you are. So for me it would be, I'd be curious about girls, and it basically just means like you're curious to know what it would be like to like be with a girl or whatever it may be, like, you know, be intimate or go out with a girl or whatever it may be. This is a really hard question because every person is going to be so different, you know what I mean? But I would say the best way, okay, well, I'd say first of all is, if you like actively think about hooking up with a girl and sleeping with a girl quite often, and that is something that you feel like you would really enjoy, I feel like that would be a big thing, like, you know, because, you know, a lot of straight girls like look at girls and like, oh, she's pretty, like, oh yeah, I'd kiss her, like, you know, and it's not a big deal, like, that's fine, you know, but like actually like being intimate with a girl and sleeping with a girl is a completely different situation to kissing a girl. Like, most girls I know have kissed a girl, but that doesn't mean they're bisexual, you know. You know, most girls are attracted to other girls, but that doesn't mean that they're bisexual and would, you know, go out with a girl or sleep with a girl. So there are huge differences between being like bicurious and bisexual. I feel like if you genuinely feel like you want to hook up with a girl and you're like imagining it in great detail, because this was something I did for a very long time before I was actually intimate with a girl, I would picture and like vividly imagine what it would be like to actually be with a girl. And like, I mean, I would do this so often. Like, most days this would come into my head, and it was used to do my head in because I couldn't get it out of my head. So I feel like if you're thinking about it a lot in great detail, that is the sign, you know, a little inkling. So another sign, I'd say, if you fantasize about kissing guys and girls, so you know it's just as equal to you, you know, you don't have more of a preference. You know, you can have a preference when you're bisexual, but if you're like equally thinking about both, you know what I mean, like just as much as the other, like you're like, oh, like kissing guys, but oh, and girls, but girls and guys and girls, you know, if you're like stuck in like the both of them, I think that would be a sign. But like if you're very like, oh, guys and like I don't know about girls, you know, I'd say maybe then you are more bicurious and you're like, I'd like to try it out, but you know, it mightn't be something I would actively act on in the future and actually have a relationship with a girl. I'd say another sign would be if you've questioned and researched sexuality a lot, like if you find yourself typing into Google, am I bisexual, on a regular basis, what does bisexual mean, you know, I feel like if you're doing that a lot and you're researching it a lot, that would also be another sign, because I did this a lot as well. I was always like, am I bisexual, like I don't know, because I feel like if you're that confused and you keep like researching it and like trying to find more information about it and stuff, and you feel like a lot of the boxes are ticking you, I feel like that could be a big sign that you are bisexual. I feel like another thing would be that when you heard about bisexuality, that something clicked in you. This also happened with me. Like, I remember watching a video, or I don't know what I was watching, but whatever way this person was portraying bisexuality, I was like, that's it. It was like a godsend from heaven, like, oh. So yeah, I felt like something just clicked in me when I was watching whatever I was watching. I can't even remember what it was. But if when you first heard about bisexuality or someone being bisexual, if something clicked inside you and you were like, that's it, that's me, I feel like that could be an indicator that you are. Another one would be if you are into lesbian porn. I know a lot of people don't watch porn, but a lot of people also watch porn. So if you find yourself more drawn to lesbian porn than straight porn, that also could be a little indicator. Another one would be is if you could see yourself having a future with both genders, and that would be another huge one. Like if you could actually imagine that and like you would be okay with that, and you're like not like, oh my god, that would absolutely terrify me, like I could not be with a girl for the rest of my life. If that's the case, I'd say you are bicurious. So I'd say like if all these boxes that I'm saying are ticking off for you and you're like, yes Jessica, yes, then you probably are more than likely bisexual. But I feel like if everything I'm saying you're like, no, you probably are more than likely bicurious. But then again, you still could be bisexual, but you're just in a very confusing phase of it, you know. I went through this for years, so don't like get bogged down upon it. Maybe just do a bit more research, and as I said, you'll figure it out when you're meant to. So, you know, don't stress it and just do you, baby girl. So somebody asked me, would you see yourself marrying a man or woman, or doesn't it matter to you? I know I've not had enough experience like dating girls and stuff, but like I genuinely could picture myself being with the girl, like no word of a lie. As I was saying, it's completely about the person, so I can't see myself with one or the other. It just completely depends on what way my life maps out for me. You know, and I've said this before, but I like to believe that everything happens for a reason, and you know, everything's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen. So the next question is, so I kind of came out to my mum yesterday as bisexual, and she was great, but I just don't really know how to handle it. Like, I genuinely think people think I'm odd. Could you like explain how I can have more confidence because of it? I know it's ambiguous, but yeah. Okay, I actually really feel you on this, and I completely understand, because I went through these exact emotions for quite a while, and I went through these emotions before I came out, and I also went through these emotions after I came out. So, you know, I feel like this is something that a lot of people do struggle with. So I completely understand what you mean by people might think I'm odd, because I was the exact same. Like, I remember when I first put up that video on YouTube, and it was like my sexuality or whatever, I actually think I was like crying at one point, because I was like, oh my god, like all the people that live where I live are going to think I'm so strange, so odd, and aren't going to want to have anything to do with me. And do you know how fucked up that is? Like, that is so fucked up. Do you want to know why I think that is? Now, this is just my opinion, but you know the way a number of years ago, you know, being gay wasn't accepted, and it was so looked down upon, and it was so hard for anyone in the gay community. I feel like that is now the bisexuality community. I feel like being bisexual is quite looked down upon. No, it is looked down upon. And I feel like being bisexual is something that so many people just don't understand and can't get their heads around. The exact same thing happened with everyone that was in the gay community, and like now, you know, it's so accepted and, you know, it's absolutely fine, and there is very little controversy around being gay and stuff, but it seems to have all moved now to people who are bisexual, which is crazy. It's like, you can't just be like, okay, yeah, I understand that sexuality now, but now I don't get this one. Like, people are just so close-minded. Like, what? Okay, so I feel like the best way for you to gain more confidence about it, okay, this is kind of like just what I done. It was kind of like a process, but I remember one day I was just kind of like to myself, because I was kind of getting so bogged down about this and so concerned about the way other people were going to perceive me. Like, why did I care that much about how others perceive me? Like, surely anyone who was thinking of me negatively because of my sexuality, they're not people I bloody want to be involved or have in my life anyways. But I remember one day I was just kind of like, Jessica, you like two genders. Like, you're attracted to two genders, you know. Gay men are attracted to men. Like, lesbians are attracted to women. Straight people are attracted, you know, a straight woman is attracted to men. It's like, and you're just attracted to, like, two genders or multiple genders. I was like, there's nothing wrong with that. That is so normal. It's just as valid as every other sexuality. You know what I mean? There's nothing weird about it, Jessica. It's so normal. Like, you're no different to that straight man. You're no different to that gay man. You're no different to that gay woman. And you're no different to that, you know, whatever one I've missed out. But you know what I mean? And like, I remember just kind of one day it just hit. And I was like, why am I so concerned about how others are going to perceive me and what others are going to think about me, when this is my sexuality, this is my body, my decisions, this is like what I do, and my preferences affect nobody else, and you know, they don't matter to anybody else. You know, they're not affecting anybody else's lives. So if somebody is so bothered about my preferences, they can go do one. And I remember one day it just clicked. I was like, no, I'm sorry, but I'm not having myself beat myself up like this anymore over something so petty. You know, the people who are genuine and love me for who I am are going to accept it regardless, and aren't going to judge me over something so stupid and petty as my preferences and who I'm sexually attracted to. Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like it just clicked one day, and I was like, nah, like, this is a joke, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's so normal. The amount of people in this world who are bisexual, it's a completely valid, you know, it's a valid sexuality, and anyone who says otherwise, well, they're closed-minded a-holes, assholes. Yeah, go do one. We don't want you round our space anyway. But I think it's something that you kind of just have to come to terms with in yourself, and you will. Like, one day you're just going to be like, here, what was I doing? What was I thinking? You know, nobody's going to think you're odd. Like, honestly, nobody's going to think you're odd. I thought that too. I've never heard one bad word that has been said behind my back or to me, or I've never had anyone say anything, you know, and it was just me worrying over nothing. So the next question is, hey girl, so I've only recently came out to my friends that I'm bi, and I've lost one of my best friends over it. She just stopped talking to me and started acting weird around me, and I feel so horrible about it and so judged. I really miss her. Any advice on how I should try talk to her about it or something? The first thing I just want to say is, if I was you, I would literally cut that bloody person, whoever they are, out of my life for good. Like, literally get the scissors and go snap. Like, bye, bitch, bye. You know, don't ever come back here again. If somebody is gonna, you know, you're saying that you feel so horrible and judged. If somebody who was supposed to be your best friend is making you feel horrible and making you feel judged and bad about your preferences, you know, just think in your head, like, is that actually somebody that you want to make up with, and is that actually someone you want back in your life? Like, somebody who has made you feel so low about your sexuality. You know, we're living in 2018 now, we're not living back in the 1900s. Like, you know, this kind of shit is not okay and it shouldn't be tolerated. I'm sorry, but like, how close-minded are you if you're making someone who was supposed to be your best friend feel low, judged, horrible? Like, no, like, wake up. Wake up. Yeah, so if I were you, I honestly wouldn't have, like, this girl doesn't deserve to be in your life. You're so much better than this. You're going to meet such better friends who will never make you feel this way, who will never make you feel judged, who would accept you completely for who you are. Like, you know, as I was saying, your preferences aren't affecting her, aren't affecting her life. They actually have nothing to bloody do with her. So the fact that she'd stop talking to you and just like, you know, be okay with just like walking out of your life like that says a lot about her, and kind of says, you know, how little you must have meant to her. And, you know, that might be hard to hear, but it's true. You know, somebody who could just get up and walk away so easy over something like that that doesn't even affect them says more about that person than it says about you. But, you know, if you really do want to try and talk to her, my best advice would be to maybe, you know, try and like organize somewhere to meet up. I'd probably like do it in public, like a coffee shop or something, so like if things do get awkward or heated, like, you know, you're safe and you can kind of like leave the situation in like, you know, a safe manner. So I would kind of just try and explain to her, you know, it might be that she's thinking now that you want to be with her and you were attracted to her and you want to kiss her and you want to have sex with her, but, you know, I think you need to explain to her like that just because you're bisexual now. You know, it's the same as you having guy friends if you were straight. You know, you don't want to sleep with and kiss and like be with every one of your guy friends because they're your friends, and it's the exact same with your girlfriends like a lot of the time, you know. Like, well, for me anyway, you know, I never want to kiss or sleep with her. I never want anything to do with my girlfriends. They're my friends, you know what I mean? And maybe try and explain this to her, that, you know, just because you're bisexual and you like boys and girls doesn't mean that you now want to get all up in her business and hanky-panky and whatnot. Like, I don't know what's going through her mind. Like, this is absurd. But yeah, I just try and explain to her, you know, maybe she doesn't understand the whole bisexuality thing. You know, maybe like Google it a bit and like the best way to talk to a friend. But I would try and just explain to her how you actually feel and how, you know, you would never want anything with her, and like your friends are in a separate box, and then, you know, other people, the possibilities are over here, but the friends are over here. But if I were you, I'd cut her off. So I hope that helped. So guys, that was my answering your bisexuality questions part 2. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please smash a big thumbs up if you would like me to do a part 3. If we get this video over 1500 likes, I will most definitely do a part 3 for you guys. So do let me know in the comments if you would like to see that. I had so much fun filming this. I cannot wait to see it all in my next video, and I love you all so extremely much. Mwah. Bye bye.